My billionaire CEO ex-husband's mistress showed up to our twins' Halloween party dressed as me to mock me. Ashley stood in my doorway, wearing a fake pregnant belly she could remove, holding a sign that said, "Still trying for a miracle," with a cruel smile on her face. She had a photographer with her, ready to document my humiliation for her 3 million Instagram followers. "Surprise," she said, her voice dripping with false sympathy. "I heard you were having a Halloween party. I thought I'd come dressed as the saddest thing I could think of. A barren woman desperately wishing for children." That's when 2-year-old Tyler ran past her legs, screaming, "Mama, Mama, more cake." Her smile froze. She looked around at the room full of toddlers in costumes, at the happy birthday banner, at the 2 birthday cakes with the number 2 on them, at my daughter Emma toddling toward me in her butterfly costume. "Wait," Ashley's voice went shrill. "You have children?" My ex-husband Michael appeared behind her, his face going white as he stared at the twins, at Tyler's green eyes, the exact same shade as his own, at Emma's chin, his chin. "Natalie," his voice was barely a whisper. "How old are they?" Have you ever watched someone's cruelty backfire in the most spectacular way possible? Have you ever seen karma deliver justice in real time? This is the story of a woman who came to mock me for being childless, only to discover she'd crashed my twins' birthday party. The twins my billionaire ex-husband had no idea existed. If you believe in karma and poetic justice, hit that like button right now, because what happens next is absolutely legendary. But let me take you back to the beginning of this impossible day. Back to 6 hours earlier when everything was still perfect and my secret was still safe. I woke up at 5:30 in the morning to the sound of tiny footsteps padding across the hardwood floor. A moment later, 2 small bodies launched themselves onto my bed with the enthusiasm only 2-year-olds possess. "Mama! Mama!" "Birthday!" Emma's voice was high with excitement as she bounced on the mattress. "Party day," Tyler added, his curly dark hair sticking up in every direction. I pulled them both into a hug, breathing in that unique smell of baby shampoo and childhood that I'd never take for granted. 2 years ago, I didn't know if I'd ever experience this. 2 years ago, I was still reeling from a divorce that had left me broken and a medical diagnosis that had stolen my hope. "That's right, my loves, it's your birthday. You're 2 whole years old today." I held up 2 fingers and they copied me, giggling. "2," Emma shouted. "Big kids," Tyler declared. I kissed them both on the forehead and climbed out of bed. There was so much to do before the party started at 2 o'clock. The decorations to hang, the food to prepare, the final touches on the costumes I'd spent weeks making. My best friend Katie showed up at 7 with coffee and donuts. "Happy birthday to my favorite tiny humans," she called out as she entered through the back door of my house. Tyler and Emma came running, still in their pajamas. "Auntie Katie," they shrieked in unison. She scooped them both up, one in each arm. Katie had been my rock through everything: the divorce, the pregnancy, the terrifying early birth when the twins arrived 6 weeks premature. Every sleepless night and every milestone moment. She'd been there for all of it. "You ready for today?" she asked me as she set the twins down and they ran off to play with their toys. "As ready as I'll ever be. 20 kids under the age of 4. What could go wrong?" "Well, at least Michael won't show up. He doesn't even know they exist." I felt the familiar twist in my stomach at his name. 3 years since the divorce, and it still hurt to think about him. Not because I still loved him. That love had died the day he told me he needed a wife who could give him children, but because of what we'd lost. What we could have been if his mother hadn't interfered. If he'd been strong enough to stand up for us. "He won't show up," I agreed. "He has no reason to. As far as he knows, I'm just his barren ex-wife, who disappeared after the divorce." Katie's expression darkened. "I still can't believe he married Ashley 2 months after your divorce was finalized." "He married her in Vegas 6 weeks after, actually. I found out I was pregnant a month after the divorce. By the time I knew, he'd already moved on." "You should have told him." We'd had this argument before. Katie thought Michael deserved to know about the twins. I disagreed. What was I supposed to do? Call him up and say, "Hey, I know you divorced me because I'm supposedly infertile and you're already married to someone else, but surprise, I'm pregnant with twins?" His mother would have tried to take them. You know she would have. "I know. I just think those babies deserve to know their father." I looked at Tyler and Emma playing together on the floor, building towers with blocks just to knock them down. They were happy, healthy, loved. They didn't need Michael Carter and his toxic family disrupting their lives. They have everything they need, I said firmly. Now help me hang these decorations before I have a breakdown. We spent the next several hours transforming my house into a Halloween wonderland. Orange and black streamers, pumpkin decorations, a balloon arch in autumn colors. 2 high chairs, decorated like thrones for the birthday twins. At noon, Amy arrived. She was my assistant at Brooks Events, my event planning company, but she also helped with the twins when I had big jobs. She immediately took over entertaining Tyler and Emma so Katie and I could finish the food prep. You know, this is nicer than half the weddings I've planned, Katie observed as she arranged fruit on a platter. You really went all out. It's their 2nd birthday. They won't remember it, but I will. I want it to be perfect. It will be. You always make everything perfect. It's your superpower. The doorbell rang at 1:45. The first guests arriving early. I did a final check in the mirror. I looked good. Really good. The last 3 years had been hard, but they'd also been transformative. I'd lost the softness that came from being in an unhappy marriage. I'd built muscle from chasing toddlers and building a business. My hair was longer, healthier. My eyes brighter. I was 31 years old, a successful business owner, and a mother to 2 incredible children. I'd rebuilt my entire life from the ashes of my marriage, and I'd done it without Michael's money or his name. Brooks Events had started small. Just me, planning birthday parties for friends and small corporate events. But word spread about the woman who could turn any vision into reality. Within a year, I was booking weddings. Within 2 years, I was planning celebrity events and corporate galas. The money from my divorce settlement sat untouched in an account. I'd built everything with my own work, my own creativity. I wanted Tyler and Emma to grow up knowing their mother didn't need anyone to save her. She'd saved herself. The party was in full swing by 2:30. My living room and backyard were full of toddlers in costumes. A tiny dinosaur, a miniature superhero, a baby pumpkin who kept falling over because the costume was too round. Parents chatted while keeping eyes on their children. The noise level was chaotic but joyful. Tyler was in a lion costume I'd made by hand, complete with a fuzzy mane. Emma wore butterfly wings that sparkled in the light. They were having the time of their lives, playing with their friends, eating cake with their hands, being gloriously messy 2-year-olds. I was talking to another mother about preschool recommendations when I heard the commotion at the front door. Voices raised, someone saying, "I don't think this is appropriate." I excused myself and headed toward the sound. That's when I saw her. Ashley Monroe stood in my entryway, and my breath caught in my throat. I'd seen pictures of her on social media, Michael's new wife, the woman he'd chosen over me. But seeing her in person was different. She was beautiful in that Instagram-perfect way. Blonde hair and beachy waves. Flawless makeup. Designer clothes that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. And she was wearing the most offensive costume I'd ever seen. The fake pregnant belly was obvious, cartoonishly large. But it was the accessories that made it cruel. The sign around her neck that said, "Still trying for a miracle," in looping script. The fake sympathy ribbons pinned to her dress. The baby dolls she carried in her arms, clearly meant to represent the children I supposedly couldn't have. She brought a photographer. A young guy with an expensive camera who looked increasingly uncomfortable as he realized what kind of event he'd been brought to. "Natalie," Ashley said my name like it tasted bad. "I'm so glad I found you. I heard through the grapevine that you were having a little Halloween party, and I thought, what better way to show support than to come dressed as you? Still hoping for that miracle baby?" Her voice was loud enough that conversations around us stopped. Parents turned to stare. I felt Katie materialize at my side, her hand gripping my arm. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Katie's voice was sharp. "This is a children's party." Ashley's smile faltered as she actually looked around for the first time. Her eyes widened as she took in the room full of toddlers. The birthday decorations. The happy 2nd birthday banner stretched across my fireplace. "Wait," she said slowly. "This is a kid's party?" That's when Tyler came running from the kitchen, his lion mane bouncing, chocolate cake smeared across his face. "Mama, Mama, more cake please." He ran right past Ashley's legs and wrapped his arms around my knee. I picked him up automatically, settling him on my hip. Ashley stared at him, at me, at the child in my arms. You have a kid? Her voice had gone up an octave. Before I could respond, Emma toddled over, her butterfly wings slightly crooked. Mama, up. I shifted Tyler to one side and scooped Emma up with my other arm. Two 2-year-olds, one in each arm, both with cake on their faces and joy in their eyes. Ashley's face had gone pale under her professionally applied makeup. You have kids, plural. You have children. Obviously, I said, my voice cold. But you can't. You're infertile. That's why Michael divorced you. Apparently the doctors were wrong. I watched the realization wash over her face. The understanding that she'd come here to mock me for being childless, dressed in a costume designed to humiliate me for my supposed infertility, and she'd walked into a room full of proof that she was completely, catastrophically wrong. How old are they? She asked, but her voice was faint. 2. Today's their birthday, actually. You crashed their birthday party. The photographer had already started backing toward the door. Several parents had their phones out, recording. This was too good not to capture. Ashley Monroe, Instagram influencer and wife of Billionaire CEO Michael Carter, at a toddler birthday party in an offensive costume, being confronted with her own cruelty. I didn't know, Ashley stammered. I thought this was your party. An adult party. I didn't. You didn't what? Didn't think it was cruel to mock someone for being unable to have children? Didn't think it was disgusting to make infertility into a costume? What exactly didn't you think? Katie had her phone out too, recording. You're live on her Instagram right now, by the way. Your followers are watching this. Ashley's hand flew to her phone in her purse. What? No, I didn't. You started a live stream when you walked in, remember? To capture Natalie's humiliation? Except now thousands of people are watching you humiliate yourself. I could see Ashley's phone screen from where I stood. The comments were rolling in fast. This is disgusting. Imagine being this cruel. Making fun of infertility? Really? Wait, she has kids? This is awkward. She crashed a children's birthday party dressed like this? That's when I heard his voice. Ashley, what the hell are you doing here? Michael Carter walked through my still open front door, and time seemed to slow down. I hadn't seen him in person in 3 years. We'd communicated only through lawyers during the divorce. I'd successfully avoided every place I might run into him. He looked different, older. There were lines around his eyes that hadn't been there when we were married. His dark hair had threads of gray at the temples. He wore an expensive suit, clearly having come from the office. But it was his eyes that caught me. Those green eyes that had once looked at me with love, that had gone cold when he'd asked for a divorce. Those eyes were now staring at me with shock. And then they moved to the children in my arms. I watched his face change as he looked at Tyler, at Emma. I saw the exact moment he registered the resemblance. Tyler had his eyes, the exact same unusual shade of green. Emma had his chin, his nose. Both children had my dark hair and fair skin, but their features were unmistakably his. Natalie, he said my name like a prayer and a curse combined. Tyler chose that moment to look directly at Michael and say, "Hi, Tyler." Emma, not to be outdone, waved enthusiastically. Emma. Michael's face had gone completely white. He looked at the twins, at me, at the birthday decorations. I could see his mind working, doing the math. How old? His voice was hoarse. You need to leave, I said, tightening my grip on the twins. Both of you need to leave right now. How old are they, Natalie? That's none of your business. The hell it isn't. His voice rose, and several children started crying at the sudden loud noise. Tyler's bottom lip trembled. You're scaring them, I said quietly. You need to leave. Now. Katie stepped forward, putting herself between Michael and me. You heard her. Get out. Both of you. But Michael wasn't moving. He was staring at Tyler with an intensity that made me uncomfortable. He has my eyes. He has his own eyes. Don't lie to me. Not about this. Michael moved closer, and I instinctively stepped back. That's my son. I can see it. Those are my children. Ashley had been silent, watching this exchange with growing horror. Now she spoke, her voice shrill. That's impossible. She's barren. The doctors said. The doctors lied. I cut her off. Or more accurately, your husband's mother paid them to lie. Michael's head snapped toward me. What? You heard me. Patricia paid off the fertility specialist. I was never infertile. She wanted you to divorce me. So she made sure you had a reason. That's insane. My mother wouldn't. Your mother wanted you to marry someone from the right family, someone with the right connections. I was the daughter of a middle school teacher and a mechanic. I wasn't good enough. So she manufactured a reason for you to leave me. I could see him processing this, see the doubt creeping into his expression. He knew his mother was capable of manipulation, but this level of deception? Even if that's true, he said slowly, you should have told me. When you found out you were pregnant, you should have called me. Called you? You married her. I jerked my head toward Ashley. 6 weeks after our divorce was finalized. I found out I was pregnant a month after you signed the papers. By the time I knew, you'd already moved on. You'd already chosen her. I had a right to know. You had a right? My voice was shaking with barely controlled fury. You divorced me because I supposedly couldn't give you children. You told me you needed a wife who could provide an heir. You made me feel broken and defective. And then you married your mistress in Vegas like I was so easy to replace. You think you had rights? Tyler started to whimper. He could feel my distress. Emma was watching Michael with wide, uncertain eyes. I needed to end this. The party was ruined, but I could at least protect my children from more trauma. Katie, can you take them to the playroom? I asked, keeping my voice gentle for the twins' sake. Of course. Katie reached for Emma, and I passed her over. Another parent, Jennifer from our mommy group, came over to take Tyler from me. We've got them, Jennifer said softly. Take your time. As the twins were carried away, Tyler looked back at me. Mama okay? Mama's fine, baby. Go play with Miss Jennifer. Once they were out of sight, I turned back to Michael and Ashley. The other parents had moved the remaining children to the backyard, but they were all clearly listening. Phones were still out, recording. This was going to be all over social media within the hour. You want to do this here? I asked Michael. In front of all these people? You kept my children from me for 2 years. Yeah, I want to do this here. Fine. I crossed my arms. Tyler and Emma are 2 years old today. They were born 6 weeks premature on October 31st. I went into early labor alone, gave birth alone, brought them home alone. I've raised them for 2 years without a penny of your money or a second of your time. Because you never told me. Because you were married to someone else? What did you expect me to do? Break up your marriage? Fight your mother for custody? I was 28 years old, broke, alone, and pregnant with twins. You'd made your choice. I made mine. Michael ran his hands through his hair, a gesture I remembered from our marriage. He always did that when he was stressed. Those are my children, Natalie, my son and daughter. I've missed 2 years of their lives. And whose fault is that? You're the one who believed I was infertile without getting a second opinion. You're the one who divorced me. You're the one who got remarried before I even knew I was pregnant. If I'd known. What would you have done? Left Ashley? Fought me for custody? Used your mother's money and lawyers to take my babies away from me? I could see the answer in his eyes. That's exactly what he would have done. And that's exactly why I never told him. They have my last name. I continued. Carter. I gave them your last name because I'm not petty, despite everything. But you're not on their birth certificates. Legally, you have no rights to them. I can change that. I have lawyers. So do I. Better ones. And when we go to court, I'll tell the judge everything. How you threw me away for being supposedly infertile. How your mother paid off doctors to destroy our marriage. How you married your mistress while I was pregnant and alone. You think any judge is going to give you custody after that? Ashley, who had been silent during this exchange, finally spoke up. This is insane. Michael, you can't actually be considering. Shut up, Ashley. Michael didn't even look at her. His eyes were fixed on me. I want to see them. I want to be part of their lives. No. Natalie. No, you don't get to waltz in here and play daddy. You don't get to disrupt their lives because you suddenly feel guilty. I have a right. You have nothing. My voice cracked. You threw away any rights you had when you divorced me. When you called me broken. When you made me sign an NDA so I couldn't even tell people the truth about why our marriage ended. You made your choices, Michael. Now live with them. I could see parents filming this on their phones. Could see the shock and sympathy on their faces. Could see Ashley's Instagram notifications blowing up as her live stream captured every word. My brother Jake's truck pulled up outside. Katie must have called him. He came through the door looking ready for a fight. You, he pointed at Michael. Out. Now. Jake, stay out of this, Michael said. This is my sister's house. My niece and nephew's birthday party. You crashed it. So yeah, I'm in this. Jake moved to stand beside me. Both of you need to leave before I call the cops. I'm not leaving until Natalie and I finish this conversation, Michael said stubbornly. The conversation is over, I said firmly. You want to talk about Tyler and Emma? We do it through lawyers. You want to see them? We set up supervised visits. You want to be part of their lives? You earn it. But you don't get to show up here and make demands. They're my children. They're children you didn't know existed until 20 minutes ago. You think you can just claim them like property? Ashley was scrolling through her phone, her face getting paler by the second. Michael, we need to go. This is bad. This is really bad. I don't care about your Instagram followers right now, Ashley. It's not just Instagram. TMZ just picked up the story. You're trending on Twitter. The videos are everywhere. Michael finally looked at his wife, really looked at her. At the offensive costume she was still wearing. At the removed fake belly in her hands. At the sign around her neck mocking infertility. What the hell were you thinking? His voice was quiet, dangerous. I didn't know she had kids. I thought. You thought it would be funny to mock her for being childless? That was your idea of entertainment? You always said she was infertile. You said that's why you divorced her. That doesn't make it okay to humiliate her. You're defending her? Ashley's voice went shrill. Your ex-wife who kept your children from you? She kept them from me because I was married to you. Michael's voice rose again. Because I threw her away and moved on before she could even tell me. They were fighting now, right there in my living room, while parents recorded every word. This was a disaster. This was going to be everywhere. My children's faces would be plastered across social media. Their privacy destroyed. Everyone needs to leave, I said loudly. Party's over. Please take your children and go. The parents started gathering their kids, offering me sympathetic looks and whispered apologies as they left. Within 10 minutes, my house was empty except for me, Katie, Jake, Michael, and Ashley. And somewhere in the back of the house, my two innocent children who had no idea their lives had just been turned upside down. Katie brought Tyler and Emma back to me. They were confused by all the commotion, by the sudden end to their party. Emma's bottom lip was trembling. Mama sad? She asked. Mama's okay, baby. I pulled them both close. Just a little mix-up with the grown-ups. Tyler looked at Michael, who was staring at him with such raw longing it was almost painful to watch. Who that? Everyone waited for my answer. What was I supposed to say? This is your father, who didn't know you existed? This is the man who divorced me for being infertile before I found out I was pregnant with you? This is Michael, I said carefully. He's someone Mama used to know. Hi, Michael. Emma waved, because she was friendly to everyone. Tyler was more cautious. He pressed closer to me, watching Michael with uncertain eyes. Michael knelt down slowly, carefully, like he was approaching a wild animal. Hi, Tyler. Hi, Emma. I'm very happy to meet you. It's our birthday, Tyler informed him. I know. You're 2 years old today. That's very big. We had cake, Emma added helpfully. I saw that. Did you save any for me? Emma giggled. No, we ate it all. I watched Michael interact with them, saw the wonder and pain on his face. This was the moment he'd thought he'd never have. Children. His children. And he'd missed 2 years of their lives. But I couldn't feel sorry for him. He'd made his choices, I'd made mine. And my only priority was protecting Tyler and Emma from the fallout. Ashley was still on her phone, watching her social media empire crumble in real time. Brands were dropping her. Sponsors were releasing statements, distancing themselves. The costume photos were everywhere, along with screenshots of her Instagram comments about Michael's barren ex-wife. Michael, we need to go, she said urgently. I need to do damage control. I'm not leaving. Your children are here. In case you forgot, you have a wife. Michael stood up, finally looking at Ashley with clear eyes. Not for long. This marriage is over. What? You can't be serious. You came to my ex-wife's house in a costume mocking her for infertility, crashed my children's birthday party, and live-streamed the whole thing. Yeah, I'm serious. But I didn't know about the kids. That doesn't make what you did okay. Even if she didn't have children, what you did was cruel. You're divorcing me for her? I'm divorcing you because you just showed me exactly who you are. And I don't like it. Ashley looked at me with pure hatred. This is your fault. You and your secret babies. My secret babies? I almost laughed. You mean the children I had a right to keep private? The children I was protecting from exactly this kind of drama? You kept Michael's children from him. I kept my children safe from a man who threw me away, and a family who would have tried to take them from me. Don't you dare judge me for that. Jake stepped forward. Okay, seriously, everyone out. Natalie and the kids need space. Michael, you want to talk about custody or visitation or whatever, you do it through lawyers like a civilized human being. Ashley, delete those photos and videos, or I'll make sure every news outlet knows you crashed a toddler's birthday party to bully their mother. Now get out of my sister's house. Michael looked at me, at the twins in my arms. This isn't over, Natalie. Those are my children. Those are my children, I corrected. You want to be their father? Prove you deserve it. He left, finally, with Ashley trailing behind him, still frantically typing on her phone. Through my window, I could see them arguing in his car before he drove away. The house was finally quiet. Tyler and Emma had fallen asleep in my arms, exhausted from the excitement and chaos. Katie and Jake were cleaning up the destroyed party decorations. That was intense, Jake said, throwing away paper plates with untouched cake on them. That's an understatement, Katie added. Natalie, are you okay? Was I okay? My secret was out. Michael knew about the twins. Ashley had been publicly humiliated, but she'd also exposed my children to the world. This was going to be everywhere. Tyler and Emma's faces would be in tabloids. Questions would be asked. Lawyers would get involved. No, I wasn't okay. But I was strong. I'd survived worse than this. I'd survived nearly dying in childbirth. Survived raising premature twins alone. Survived building a business from nothing while keeping two tiny humans alive. I could survive this too. I will be, I said finally. I have to be. For them. I looked down at my sleeping children. Tyler's dark curls falling across his forehead. Emma's butterfly wings now completely crooked. They were so innocent. So perfect. So mine. Michael could bring lawyers. Ashley could try to destroy me on social media. The media could have a field day with this story. But at the end of the day, I was their mother. I was the one who'd been there from day one. I was the one they called for in the night. I was the one who knew that Tyler liked his sandwiches cut in triangles and Emma was afraid of the vacuum cleaner. I was their mother, and no billionaire CEO and his Instagram influencer wife were going to take that away from me. Later that evening, after Jake had left and Katie had helped me put the twins to bed, I sat alone in my living room staring at my phone. The videos were everywhere. Every major gossip site had picked up the story. Ashley Monroe crashes toddler birthday party in cruel costume. Billionaire CEO discovers secret twins, ex-wife's shocking revelation about paid-off doctors. My phone was ringing constantly, unknown numbers, reporters, people I hadn't spoken to in years, suddenly wanting the inside scoop. I turned it off. Katie sat beside me on the couch. You should probably get a lawyer. Like, tonight. I have a lawyer. I had one draw up everything when the twins were born. Birth certificates without his name. Legal documentation that I'm the sole parent. I knew this day might come. I prepared for it. Smart. But he's going to fight this, Natalie. You know that, right? He's going to use every resource he has. Let him. I have something he doesn't have. What's that? The truth. In 2 years of being their only parent, no judge is going to take them away from me. What if he doesn't want to take them away? What if he just wants to be involved? I was quiet for a long moment. Then he's going to have to earn it. Tyler and Emma don't know him. He's a stranger to them. You can't just insert yourself into children's lives because biology says you're related. But he is their father. Derek is more of a father to them than Michael has ever been. Derek, Michael's best friend and business partner. The one person from my old life who'd kept in touch. The one who'd known about my pregnancy from the beginning because he'd been at the grocery store when I'd bought the pregnancy test and had a panic attack in the parking lot. Derek had kept my secret for 2 years, had visited regularly, had been Uncle Derek to my children, had supported my decision to keep them from Michael without judgment. And Michael was going to lose his mind when he found out his best friend had known all along. "You need to warn Derek," Katie said, reading my mind, "before Michael puts it together." "I will. Tomorrow. Tonight, I just need to process this." We sat in silence for a while, listening to the quiet house. Somewhere upstairs, Tyler and Emma were sleeping peacefully, unaware that their lives had just changed forever. My phone, even turned off, felt like it was burning a hole in my pocket. I knew what was waiting when I turned it back on. Messages from reporters. Hate from Ashley's followers. Probably messages from Michael's lawyer already. And buried in all of that, the truth that I'd been avoiding for 2 years. Michael was their father. Biological, legal complications aside, those children had his eyes and his chin and his stubborn streak. They deserved to know him. But did he deserve to know them? That was the question that had kept me up at night for 2 years. The question I still didn't have an answer to. "What are you going to do?" Katie asked softly. "I don't know. But whatever I do, it's going to be on my terms. Not his. Not his mother's. Not Ashley's. Mine." "Good, because those babies need you to be strong right now." "I'm always strong for them." "I know you are. That's why you're going to get through this." After Katie left, I checked on Tyler and Emma one more time. They were sprawled in their toddler beds, covers kicked off, stuffed animals scattered everywhere. Tyler was snoring slightly. Emma was curled around her favorite bunny. They looked so peaceful, so innocent, so completely unaware that the world now knew they existed. I pulled out my phone and finally turned it on. 347 missed calls. Over 1,000 text messages. My email inbox was exploding. But there was one message that caught my attention. From Derek. I saw the videos. "I'm so sorry. He called me an hour ago. He knows I knew. Call me when you're ready to talk. I've got your back." I typed back a quick response. "Thank you. I'll call tomorrow." Then I opened my photo album. 2 years of pictures. Tyler and Emma's first bath. Their first smiles. First steps. First words. Every milestone documented and cherished. Michael had missed all of it. And part of me, the part that was still hurt and angry, was glad he had. But another part of me, the part that loved those children more than life itself, felt sad for what they'd missed. Every child deserved a father who loved them, who showed up for them, who chose them. Tyler and Emma deserved that. The question was whether Michael could be that man. Whether he'd change from the person who'd thrown me away 3 years ago. Whether he'd fight his mother's influence and actually put his children first. I guess we were about to find out. If this story is resonating with you, if you're feeling the anger and the vindication and the pure karma of it all, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button for Luck's Love Chronicles with Mr. Wentworth. Because this story is far from over. Ashley's downfall is just beginning. Michael's reckoning is coming. And the truth about Patricia Carter's manipulation is about to blow up their entire world. Drop a comment right now and tell me what you would do in my position. Would you let Michael into the twins' lives? Would you make him earn it? Would you protect your children at all costs, or give him a chance to be their father? Because trust me, what happens next is going to test every ounce of strength I have, and you won't want to miss a second of it. I woke up the next morning to the sound of car doors slamming outside my house. I looked out my bedroom window and felt my stomach drop. News vans, at least 5 of them lined up along my quiet suburban street. Reporters with cameras, people I'd never seen before standing on my lawn. My private life was now public property. Tyler and Emma were still asleep, blissfully unaware that their faces were currently trending on every social media platform. I grabbed my phone and immediately called my lawyer, Sandra Martinez. She'd handled my divorce and had drawn up all the legal paperwork when the twins were born. She answered on the first ring. "I've been waiting for your call. I saw the videos. There are reporters outside my house." "I know. Don't talk to them. Don't go outside. Don't post anything on social media. I'm filing for a restraining order against media on your property within the hour." "Can you do that?" "I can try. Your children are minors. They have a right to privacy. The fact that someone live-streamed their birthday party without your consent gives us grounds." "What about Michael? Has his lawyer contacted you?" "Not yet, but they will." "Natalie, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me." "Okay. Is there any way Michael can prove you deliberately kept the children from him with malicious intent?" I thought about the timeline. No. I found out I was pregnant 4 weeks after the divorce was finalized. He married Ashley 6 weeks after the divorce. By the time I knew about the twins, he was already married to someone else. I have documentation of everything. The pregnancy test receipt. My first prenatal appointment. The timeline proves I didn't even know I was pregnant when he remarried. Good. That's good. What about financial support? Did you ever try to contact him for child support? No, I haven't touched the divorce settlement. I've supported myself and the twins entirely through my business. Even better, you can prove you weren't trying to extort money from him, that you were genuinely trying to protect the children and build a stable life for them. What's he going to argue? That I should have called him while he was on his honeymoon with his new wife to tell him I was pregnant? Probably exactly that. He's going to say you violated his parental rights. He didn't have parental rights. He wasn't on the birth certificate. He didn't even know they existed. Which is going to be the crux of this whole case. Did he have a right to know? And we're going to argue no, he didn't. Not under the circumstances. I heard Tyler calling from his room. Mama, Emma took my lion. I have to go. The twins are awake. Don't let them near any windows. Don't let anyone photograph them. I'll handle the legal side. You just take care of those babies. I hung up and went to deal with the morning chaos of 2 toddlers who had no idea their world had changed overnight. Katie showed up an hour later with bags of groceries and a determined expression. She came through the back door to avoid the reporters out front. I'm staying, she announced. You're not dealing with this alone. You have your own life. My life can wait. You need help. Jake's out front telling the reporters to leave or he's calling the cops. Amy's fielding calls at your office. Derek is on his way over. We've got you. Derek arrived 20 minutes later, also through the back door. He looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept all night. Tyler and Emma squealed when they saw him. Uncle Derek. They ran to him, and he scooped them both up. Hey, little monsters, happy birthday. I'm sorry I missed your party yesterday. It was crazy, Emma informed him seriously. Lots of people and yelling. I heard about that. That sounds scary. Mama was scared, Tyler added. But she's okay now. Derek met my eyes over their heads. We needed to talk, but not in front of the children. Katie took over entertainment duty, setting Tyler and Emma up with coloring books at the kitchen table, while Derek and I went into my home office and closed the door. He called me last night, Derek said without preamble. At 11 p.m., he was screaming, actual screaming, asking me how long I'd known, if I'd helped you hide his children from him. What did you tell him? The truth. That I've known since the beginning. That I ran into you at the grocery store when you were buying a pregnancy test and having a breakdown in the parking lot. That you asked me not to tell him, and I respected your choice. How angry was he? On a scale of 1 to 10? About a 47. He fired me. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. What? He fired me. Told me I was done at Carter Technologies. That he never wanted to see me again. That I'd betrayed him worse than anyone ever had. Derek, I'm so sorry. I never meant for you to lose your job over this. I don't care about the job. I care about those kids in there. I care about you. Michael is my best friend, or he was, but what he did to you 3 years ago was wrong. What his mother did was criminal. You had every right to keep those babies safe. He's going to make my life hell. Probably. But Natalie, you need to understand something. He's not just angry, he's devastated. I've known Michael for 15 years, and I've never seen him like this. He spent all night looking at the videos of Tyler and Emma, pausing on their faces, crying. I'm supposed to feel sorry for him? No, but you should know that his anger is coming from grief. He missed 2 years of their lives. 2 years he can never get back. That's his own fault. I know. But from his perspective, you took that choice away from him. From his perspective, I'm supposed to have called him while he was married to someone else to tell him I was pregnant? What kind of sense does that make? Derek sighed and ran his hands through his hair. The same gesture Michael always did when he was stressed. They'd known each other so long they'd picked up each other's mannerisms. I'm not saying you were wrong. I'm saying he's hurting, and hurt people lash out. So what do? You protect those kids. You let your lawyers handle Michael. And you prepare for this to get ugly. How ugly? Patricia Carter knows now. Michael told her last night. And you know how she is. I did know. Patricia Carter was a force of nature. Old money. Connected to everyone who mattered in San Francisco society. She'd hated me from the moment Michael brought me home to meet her. A nobody from nowhere with no family connections and no trust fund. And she'd orchestrated my entire divorce by paying off doctors to tell me I was infertile. She's going to try to take them from me. She's going to try. But Natalie, you have something she doesn't have. What's that? The moral high ground. And a really, really good story. The poor girl who was told she was infertile, who got divorced and thrown away. Who found out she was pregnant and raised twins alone while building a successful business. Who gave her children her ex-husband's last name even though he destroyed her. You're the hero in this story. Patricia is the villain, and everyone loves when the villain loses. He was right. Public opinion was overwhelmingly on my side. The videos from yesterday had gone viral, but not in the way Ashley had intended. People were outraged on my behalf, calling Ashley cruel, calling Michael a deadbeat dad even though he hadn't known the children existed, calling for Patricia to be investigated for the medical fraud. My phone buzzed. A text from Sandra, my lawyer. Michael's attorney just contacted me. They want a meeting. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. You, me, Michael, and his lawyer. Are you ready for this? I texted back. Do I have a choice? Not really, but I'll be there. We'll handle it together. I showed Derek the message. He nodded. That's faster than I expected. He's not wasting time. What do you think he wants? Custody, visitation, a relationship with his kids, everything he missed. He's not getting custody. Probably not. But Natalie, he is their father. Eventually, you're going to have to let him be part of their lives. Why? They don't know him. They're happy without him. Because it's the right thing to do, and because Tyler and Emma deserve to know their father, even if he's flawed. Even if he screwed up, they deserve the chance to have both parents. I hated that he was right. Hated that despite everything Michael had done, despite all the pain he'd caused, he was still Tyler and Emma's father. And denying them a relationship with him would only hurt them in the long run. Fine, but he earns it. Every second he gets with them, he earns. Fair enough. That afternoon, after the reporters had finally been cleared from my street thanks to Sandra's emergency restraining order, I sat down with Tyler and Emma for a conversation I'd been dreading. Babies, Mama needs to talk to you about something important. They looked up from their toys, sensing my serious tone. Remember the man from yesterday, Michael? The tall man, Emma said. He was nice. He gave us attention, Tyler added, because 2-year-olds measured niceness by attention received. Well, Michael is someone very special. He's her daddy. Emma's eyes went wide. We have a daddy? You've always had a daddy. He just didn't know about you until yesterday. Why? Tyler asked with the blunt curiosity of a toddler. Because Mama and Daddy had some grown-up problems, and we weren't together when you were born, but now he knows about you, and he wants to meet you properly. Will he live here? Emma asked. No, sweetheart. Daddy has his own house, but he might visit sometimes. Would that be okay? They looked at each other, having one of their silent twin conversations. Finally, Tyler shrugged. Okay, can we have snacks? And just like that, the conversation was over. Because to 2-year-olds, the concept of a father was abstract. What mattered was snacks and toys and whether Mama was happy. I wished I could see the world through their eyes. Uncomplicated, simple, trusting. Katie found me crying in the kitchen after I put the twins down for their nap. Hey, what's wrong? Everything. Nothing. I don't know. I just told Tyler and Emma about Michael, and they barely reacted. They don't understand what this means. How their lives are about to change. Maybe that's a blessing. Let them stay innocent a little longer. Or maybe I'm a terrible mother for keeping them from their father for 2 years. Stop that. You're an amazing mother. You did what you thought was right to protect them. What if I was wrong? What if I should have told him from the beginning? Then you were wrong with the best intentions. Natalie, you can't change the past. You can only move forward. And right now, moving forward means dealing with Michael. The meeting the next day was exactly as awful as I'd anticipated. We met at Sandra's office, a sleek downtown building with conference rooms designed for high-stakes negotiations. Michael arrived with his attorney, Richard Chin, who I recognized from the divorce. He'd been the one who drafted the NDA that had silenced me for 3 years. Michael looked terrible. Dark circles under his eyes, rumpled suit, hair uncombed. He looked like he'd been up all night, which he probably had. We sat across from each other at a long conference table. Sandra on my right, Richard on Michael's left. The tension was suffocating. Richard spoke first. My client would like to establish immediate paternity and begin custody proceedings. Your client can request a paternity test, Sandra responded coolly. But he has no grounds for custody. He's not on the birth certificates. He has no legal relationship to the children. He's their biological father. Alleged biological father. Until paternity is established, he's just a man making claims. Michael spoke for the first time. I don't need a paternity test. I know they're mine. Anyone who looks at Tyler knows he's mine. Nevertheless, we'll need legal confirmation before we proceed with anything else, Sandra said. Fine, I'll take the test. But I want to see them. I want visitation. No, I said firmly. Natalie, Michael started. No, you don't get to demand anything. Tyler and Emma don't know you. You're a stranger to them. I'm not going to force them to spend time with someone they don't know just because DNA says you're related. I'm their father. You're their biological father. There's a difference. Michael's jaw clenched. I could see him fighting for control. What do you want from me? What do I have to do to see my own children? You earn it. Supervised visits, at my house. For 1 hour at a time, you show up consistently. You prove you're reliable. You put their needs before your ego. And maybe, if they bond with you and feel comfortable, we gradually increase the time. 1 hour? That's it. That's more than you've had for the last 2 years. Take it or leave it. Richard leaned in to whisper something to Michael. Michael shook his head. No, I'm not fighting her on this. Not yet. If supervised visits are what I can get right now, I'll take them. Sandra looked surprised. I was surprised too. I'd expected him to fight harder. However, Richard continued, my client wants it on record that he had no knowledge of these children until 2 days ago. That he would have been involved from the beginning if he'd been informed of the pregnancy, and that he intends to pursue full legal rights once paternity is established. Noted, Sandra said. My client wants it on record that she discovered her pregnancy 4 weeks after the divorce was finalized, that Mr. Carter had already remarried by the time she knew, and that she made the decision to prioritize the children's stability over disrupting Mr. Carter's new marriage. My client also wants to address the allegations made about his mother. Here we go. The Patricia issue. What allegations specifically? Sandra asked, though we all knew. Miss Brooks claims that Patricia Carter paid off a fertility specialist to provide a false diagnosis of infertility. That's a serious accusation. Does she have proof? I do, I said. I pulled out a folder I'd brought with me. I kept all my medical records, including a second opinion I got 6 months after the divorce from a different doctor. That doctor confirmed I had no fertility issues, that my hormone levels were normal, that there was no reason I shouldn't be able to conceive. I slid the folder across the table. I also have bank records showing a payment of $50,000 from a Carter Family LLC to Dr. Morrison's practice 1 week before he delivered my infertility diagnosis. I got those records through a HIPAA request and financial investigation I did when I was trying to understand why I'd been told I was infertile when I clearly wasn't. Michael grabbed the folder and started reading. I watched the color drain from his face as he saw the evidence. The proof that his mother had paid off my doctor, that the entire basis for our divorce had been a lie. This can't be real, he said, but his voice lacked conviction. It's real. Your mother wanted me out of your life. I wasn't good enough for the Carter family, so she manufactured a reason for you to leave me. She wouldn't, Michael stopped, because even he couldn't finish that sentence. He knew exactly what his mother was capable of. Your mother, I continued, my voice shaking with barely controlled fury, told me I was broken, that I would never give you children, that I was wasting your time. And when you believed her, when you threw me away without even getting a second opinion, you broke my heart. But worse than that, you made me believe I was defective. For months, I thought there was something wrong with me, until I got pregnant and realized it had all been a lie. Michael was staring at the documents like they were written in a foreign language. I'm going to kill her. No, Richard said firmly. You're going to let me handle this legally. If these documents are authentic, Patricia Carter could face criminal charges for medical fraud. They're authentic, Sandra confirmed. We've had them verified by 3 independent sources. Then we have a bigger problem than custody, Richard said. This is going to be a media nightmare. It already is a media nightmare, I pointed out. Your client's wife crashed my children's birthday party in an offensive costume and live-streamed it to 3 million followers. The videos of Michael discovering he has children have been viewed over 50 million times. Patricia's medical fraud is just the next chapter in a story that's already everywhere. Michael stood up abruptly. I need air. He walked out of the conference room. I watched him go, feeling nothing. No sympathy, no satisfaction, just exhaustion. My client needs a moment, Richard said unnecessarily. Take all the time he needs, Sandra replied. But the facts remain the same. Natalie has been the sole caregiver for 2 years. She has evidence that Michael's mother committed fraud to destroy their marriage. And she's offering supervised visitation out of the goodness of her heart, not because she's legally required to. We understand that. But surely you can see this from my client's perspective. He just discovered he has children. He wants to be their father. Then he can earn that right, 1 hour at a time. Michael came back 10 minutes later. His eyes were red. He'd been crying. I'm sorry, he said to me. For all of it. For believing my mother. For not getting a second opinion. For throwing you away. For everything. I don't want your apology. I know, but you're getting it anyway. I was a coward 3 years ago. I let my mother control me. I let her convince me that you weren't good enough. And I've regretted it every single day since. Not every day. You married Ashley pretty quickly. I married Ashley because she was easy. Because she didn't challenge me or make me think about what I'd thrown away. Because being with her meant I didn't have to face what I'd done to you. I don't care why you married her. That's between you and her. We're getting divorced. I filed papers yesterday. That's not my problem either. I know, but I need you to know that I understand what I lost. And I'm not just talking about Tyler and Emma. I'm talking about you. About us. About the life we could have had. We didn't have a life. We had a marriage based on lies. Your mother's lies. I should have questioned those lies. I should have fought for you. I didn't. And I'll spend the rest of my life regretting that. I looked at this man who had once been my entire world. The man I'd loved more than I thought possible. The man who destroyed me with such casual cruelty. And I felt nothing but pity for him. Your regret doesn't change anything. It doesn't give you back the 2 years you missed. It doesn't erase the pain you caused. All it does is make you feel better about yourself. You're right. I know I am. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to take that paternity test. You're going to get your legal confirmation that Tyler and Emma are yours. And then you're going to show up at my house every Saturday at 10 a.m. for supervised visitation. You're going to be on time. You're going to be sober. You're going to bring age-appropriate activities. And you're going to respect my rules and boundaries. Do you understand? Yes. If you're late, the visit is canceled. If you show up drunk or high, the visit is canceled. If you upset the children in any way, the visit is canceled. This is my house. My children. My rules. I understand. And your mother is never, ever allowed near them. Not at visits. Not at their school. Not anywhere. If I see Patricia Carter within 100 feet of my children, I'm getting a restraining order and pressing charges for the medical fraud. She won't go near them. I'll make sure of it. See that you do. Sandra drew up the agreement right there. Supervised visitation every Saturday. 1 hour to start. Gradual increases based on the children's comfort level and Michael's consistency. Paternity test within the week. No contact between Patricia Carter and the children. We both signed it. It was done. As Michael was leaving, he paused at the door. Natalie, can I ask you something? What? Do they seem happy? Tyler and Emma, are they happy? I thought about my children. About their laughter and their joy and their endless curiosity. About how they woke up every morning excited about life. About how they were loved and secure and exactly where they needed to be. They're very happy. Good, that's good. He looked like he wanted to say more, but Richard was pulling him toward the elevator. After they left, Sandra turned to me. That went better than expected. Did it? He didn't fight you on the supervised visitation. He agreed to your terms. He even apologized. Apologizing is easy. Following through is hard. You think he won't? I think he's never been held accountable for anything in his life. I think his mother has always fixed his problems and cleaned up his messes. And I think the minute this gets difficult, he's going to bail. Maybe. Or maybe finding out he has children will change him. People don't change, Sandra. Not really. They just become more of what they already are. I went home to my children, who were playing in the living room with Katie. They looked up when I came in, their faces breaking into huge smiles. Mama. They ran to me, and I scooped them both up. I missed you, my babies. We missed you too, Emma said. Uncle Derek brought cookies. Did he? That was nice. Tyler's face got serious. Mama, is the tall man coming back? Michael? Yes, baby. He's going to visit on Saturday, just for a little while. Is that okay? Tyler thought about it. Will there be toys? I imagine he'll bring toys. Then okay. If only adult problems could be solved with the promise of toys. The rest of the week passed in a blur. The media attention didn't die down. If anything, it got worse when news broke about Patricia Carter's medical fraud. Reporters camped outside her mansion. Legal experts weighed in on whether she could face criminal charges. Medical boards launched investigations. Ashley's social media empire had completely collapsed. She'd lost every sponsorship. Her follower count was in free fall as people abandoned her in droves. The costume photos had become a meme. She was a cautionary tale about cruelty and karma. And through it all, I focused on keeping Tyler and Emma's life as normal as possible. Park visits, story time, snacks and naps, and the comforting routine of toddler life. Saturday morning arrived too quickly. At 9:45, I had Tyler and Emma dressed and ready. I'd explained that Michael was coming to visit, that he was their daddy, that he wanted to spend time with them. They seemed cautiously interested, not excited, but not opposed either. At exactly 10 a.m., the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Michael standing there with an armful of toys and a nervous expression. Hi. Hi. Come in. He stepped into my house for the first time, looked around at the life I'd built without him, the family photos on the walls, the toys scattered across the floor, the evidence of children everywhere. Tyler and Emma peeked at him from behind my legs. Hi, Tyler. Hi, Emma. Remember me? The tall man, Emma said. That's right, but you can call me Michael, or Daddy, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm comfortable with cookies, Tyler announced. Michael laughed, a surprised, genuine sound. I didn't bring cookies, but I brought trucks. Do you like trucks? Tyler's eyes lit up. I love trucks. And just like that, the ice was broken. Michael sat on my living room floor and played trucks with Tyler. Emma, more cautious, watched from a distance before slowly moving closer. Katie sat in the kitchen with me, giving them space but staying close enough to intervene if needed. He's trying, she observed. It's been 10 minutes. Still, he showed up on time. He brought appropriate toys. He's engaging with them on their level. I watched Michael make truck noises and crash 2 toy vehicles together while Tyler giggled. Watched Emma finally give in to curiosity and join them, bringing her favorite stuffed bunny to show Michael. It was such a normal scene, a father playing with his children. Except there was nothing normal about this situation. The hour passed quickly, too quickly. When I told Michael it was time to go, Tyler actually looked disappointed. But we were playing. I know, baby, but Michael has to go now. He'll come back next week. Promise? Tyler asked Michael. I promise. I'll be here next Saturday. Same time. Okay, bye Michael. Emma waved enthusiastically. Bye-bye. I walked Michael to the door. He looked back at Tyler and Emma one more time before stepping outside. Thank you, he said quietly. For what? For giving me this chance, for letting me know them, for not making this harder than it has to be. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for them. I know. But still, thank you. After he left, Katie helped me make lunch while Tyler and Emma chattered about the trucks and the toys and how the tall man was actually nice. That wasn't so bad, Katie said. One visit doesn't mean anything. Let's see if he shows up next week. But he did show up the next week, and the week after that, and the week after that. Every Saturday at 10 a.m., Michael arrived with age-appropriate toys and genuine effort to connect with the twins. By week 4, Tyler and Emma were calling him Daddy. By week 8, they ran to the door when he arrived. By week 12, I was allowing unsupervised visits at my house for 2 hours while I worked in my home office. It was working. Against all odds, against all my cynicism and protective instincts, Michael was actually showing up for his children. And I hated how much that complicated my feelings about him. Derek came over for dinner one night after the twins were in bed. He'd started a new job at a tech startup, leaving Carter Technologies behind after Michael had fired him. "How's it going with the visits?" he asked over takeout Chinese food. "Good. Too good. It's messing with my head." "Why?" "Because I wanted him to fail. I wanted him to prove that he was the same selfish person who'd thrown me away. But he's not failing. He's actually being a good father." "And that bothers you?" "Yes. Because it means I have to rethink everything. My anger, my hurt, my certainty that I was right to keep the twins from him." "Were you right to keep them from him?" "I thought about it. Really thought about it. At the time? Yes. I was protecting them from an unknown variable, from a man who'd proven himself unreliable, from a family that would have tried to control their lives. But now? I don't know. They're bonding with him. They love him. They deserve to have him in their lives. So let them have him in their lives. You can co-parent without being friends. You can give him access to the twins without forgiving him for what he did to you." "Can I though? Because every time he's at my house, every time I watch him with Tyler and Emma, I remember what we could have been, what we should have been. And it hurts all over again." Derek reached across the table and took my hand. "Then maybe you need to deal with that hurt. Really deal with it. Not just bury it under anger and protective mama bear instincts." "I don't know how." "Therapy. Talking to Michael. Figuring out what closure looks like for you. But Natalie, you can't heal while you're still holding on to all that rage. The rage is what got me through. The rage is what kept me strong. The rage served its purpose. But it's time to let it go. For your own peace. For the twins. Hell, maybe even for Michael." That night, I lay awake thinking about Derek's words, about the rage I'd carried for 3 years, about whether I was ready to let it go, and about whether Michael Carter deserved my forgiveness or just my tolerance. 3 months into the supervised visits, Michael asked if he could take Tyler and Emma to the park, unsupervised. Just the 3 of them for 2 hours. Every instinct in my body screamed no, but I looked at my children, who were excited about going to the park with Daddy, who trusted him, who loved him, and I said yes. I spent those 2 hours pacing my house like a caged animal, checking my phone every 30 seconds, calling Katie to talk me down from my panic, resisting the urge to drive to the park and spy on them. When Michael brought them home, they were exhausted and happy, covered in dirt and ice cream, chattering about the swings and the ducks and how Daddy had pushed them really high. "They're in one piece," Michael said with a small smile. "I can see that. I didn't lose them, or let them get kidnapped, or feed them anything they're allergic to. I'm aware. You were worried." "Of course I was worried. This is the first time they've been alone with you. But they're fine. I can do this, Natalie. I can be their father." I looked at Tyler and Emma, who were already running inside to tell Katie about their adventure. Looked at Michael, who'd brought them home safe and sound. "I know you can." "Does that mean you trust me?" "It means I'm learning to trust you. There's a difference." "I'll take it." Over the next few months, Michael's time with the twins gradually increased. Unsupervised visits, outings to the zoo and the museum and the beach. Eventually, overnight visits at his apartment. The twins had their own room there, decorated with their favorite colors and filled with toys. They were building a relationship, a real father-child relationship, and I was learning to let go of my need to control every aspect of their lives. It wasn't easy. Every time they left with Michael, part of me worried they wouldn't come back, that his mother would interfere, that something would go wrong. But it never did. Michael was consistent, reliable, devoted. He showed up for the twins in ways I never thought possible. And slowly, painfully, I started to see him as something other than the man who destroyed me. I started to see him as Tyler and Emma's father. One evening, 6 months after the disastrous birthday party, Michael picked up the twins for a weekend visit. He was loading them into their car seats when Emma asked, "Daddy, why don't you live with us?" I froze. Michael froze. Tyler looked up with interest, waiting for the answer. "Because Mama and Daddy aren't married anymore, sweetheart." "Why not?" "Because we had some grown-up problems a long time ago." "But you're friends now, right?" Michael looked at me over Emma's head. Are we friends, Natalie? I thought about it. 6 months ago, I would have said absolutely not. We were co-parents. Nothing more. But now, after watching him consistently show up for our children, after seeing his genuine effort to be a good father, after countless exchanges and conversations and slow building of trust, we're getting there, I said carefully. I'll take that too, Michael said with a small smile. After they drove away, I sat in my quiet house and realized something shocking. I didn't hate Michael anymore. The rage that had sustained me for 3 years had somehow transformed into something else. Not forgiveness exactly, not love certainly, but acceptance, understanding, maybe even the beginning of friendship. It was terrifying. Katie found me staring at the wall when she stopped by to drop off some paperwork from work. You okay? I think I'm starting to forgive him. Is that a bad thing? It feels like betraying myself, like, if I forgive him, it means what he did was okay. Forgiveness doesn't mean what he did was okay. It means you're not going to let what he did control your life anymore. What if forgiving him makes me weak? Natalie, you raised twins alone while building a successful business after being told you were infertile and going through a devastating divorce. You're the furthest thing from weak I've ever seen. Forgiving Michael doesn't change that. I'm scared. Of what? Of forgetting how much he hurt me, of letting my guard down, of trusting him again and having him disappoint me. So don't trust him with your heart. Just trust him with the twins. That's all you need to do right now. But the truth was, it was already too late for that. Because somewhere between the supervised visits and the park trips and the co-parenting conversations, I'd started seeing Michael as a person again instead of just as the villain in my story. And that scared me more than anything. The real shift happened on Tyler and Emma's 3rd birthday. This time, there was no dramatic party. No unexpected guests, just a small celebration at my house with close friends and family. Michael was invited. Of course, he was invited. He was their father. He arrived early to help set up, carrying bags of decorations and a massive birthday cake shaped like a castle. You went overboard, I observed. It's their 3rd birthday. I missed their 1st and 2nd. I'm allowed to go overboard. We worked together in easy silence, hanging streamers and blowing up balloons. It felt domestic, comfortable, like we'd done this 100 times before instead of this being our 1st birthday celebration together. Jake arrived with his wife and their toddler. Derek came with his girlfriend. Katie brought her partner. The house filled with people who loved Tyler and Emma, who'd been part of their lives from the beginning. And Michael fit right in, making conversation, helping serve cake, playing with the kids, being exactly where he needed to be. At one point, I watched him help Emma blow out her candles while Tyler sat on his lap. They looked so happy together, so completely comfortable with each other, like they'd never been apart. And I felt my throat tighten with emotion. Katie appeared at my elbow. You okay? This is what it should have been from the beginning. This is what we were supposed to have. Maybe, but you can't change the past. You can only appreciate the present. I'm trying. After the party wound down, and the twins were exhausted from excitement, Michael helped me clean up. We worked in companionable silence, throwing away paper plates and putting away leftover cake. Thank you for inviting me, he said as he was leaving. You're their father. Of course, you were invited. Still, it means a lot, being included in moments like this. You've earned it. You've shown up for them consistently for 6 months. You've proven you're serious about being their dad. I am serious. They're the best thing in my life. Michael. I know. I'm not trying to make this about us. I'm just stating a fact. Tyler and Emma are the best thing in my life. Being their father is the best thing I've ever done. I looked at this man who'd once been my everything, who'd destroyed me, who'd somehow found his way back into my life through our children. You're a good father, I said. I never thought I'd say that, but you are. That means more than you know. After he left, I checked on Tyler and Emma. They were already asleep, worn out from their party. I sat between their beds and watched them sleep, these perfect little humans who'd given me a reason to rebuild my life. And I thought about Michael, about how he'd changed, about how fatherhood had transformed him from the selfish man who'd thrown me away into someone genuinely trying to be better. People could change. I'd seen it happen right in front of me. The question was whether I could forgive him for needing to change in the first place. A week later, I got a call from Sandra, my lawyer. You need to see the news. What happened? Patricia Carter was arrested this morning. Charges of medical fraud, conspiracy, and falsifying medical records. The district attorney is going for the maximum sentence. I turned on the TV. Sure enough, there was Patricia Carter, being led out of her mansion in handcuffs. The image was surreal. This woman who'd controlled every aspect of her son's life, who'd manipulated and schemed and destroyed my marriage, who'd caused all of this chaos. She was finally facing consequences. My phone rang. Michael. Did you see? He asked. I saw. I testified against her. I gave them everything. Bank records, communications, everything I could find that proved what she'd done. Why? Because what she did was wrong. Because she destroyed our marriage. Because she cost us 3 years we could have had together. Because she's the reason I didn't know my children existed. She's the reason for all of this. Michael. I'm not asking for forgiveness, Natalie. I'm not asking for anything. I just need you to know that I chose you this time. I chose our kids. I chose doing the right thing over protecting my mother. I sat down heavily. This was huge. Michael had actually stood up to his mother, had testified against her, had chosen differently than he did 3 years ago. Thank you. You don't have to thank me. This is what I should have done from the beginning. After we hung up, I sat in my quiet house and thought about how much had changed in 1 year. How everything had fallen apart and somehow rebuilt itself into something different but maybe better. Tyler and Emma had a father who loved them. Michael had become someone worthy of being their father. Patricia was facing justice. Ashley had disappeared from public life, her cruelty finally catching up with her. And me? I was learning to let go of my anger, learning to co-parent, learning that maybe, just maybe, forgiveness was possible. 6 more months passed. The twins turned 3.5. Michael's time with them increased to every other weekend, and one weeknight for dinner. He never missed a visit, never showed up late, never broke a promise to them. He'd proven himself, consistently, thoroughly, completely. And somewhere along the way, I stopped seeing him as my ex-husband, who destroyed me, and started seeing him as just Michael. Tyler and Emma's dad, a flawed person trying to be better. Someone who'd made terrible mistakes, but was genuinely trying to make amends. We were sitting on my back porch one evening after he dropped the twins off from a weekend visit. They were inside watching a movie, giving us a rare moment of adult conversation. Can I ask you something? Michael said. Sure. Do you think you'll ever forgive me? Really forgive me? Not just tolerate me for the twins' sake? I thought about it. Really thought about it. I don't know, I said honestly. What you did hurt me in ways I'm still processing. The way you threw me away. The way you believed I was broken without questioning it. The way you moved on so quickly. That's not something I can just forget. I know. But I also can't spend the rest of my life holding on to that hurt. Tyler and Emma deserve to have parents who can be in the same room without tension. Who can work together. Who can maybe even be friends. Can we be friends? We're getting there. Ask me again in another year. I'll take that. I'll take whatever you're willing to give. We sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the sun set over my backyard. I'm proud of you, I said finally. For what? For showing up. For being consistent. For putting Tyler and Emma first. For testifying against your mother. For becoming someone different than you were 3 years ago. I had good motivation. I didn't want to miss any more of their lives. Well, you're not missing it anymore. You're right in the middle of it. The good parts, and the hard parts, and the exhausting parts. I wouldn't have it any other way. From inside the house, we heard Tyler calling. Mama, Daddy, Emma took my toy. Michael laughed. That's my cue. Mine too. We went inside together to referee the toddler dispute. To be parents together, to continue building this complicated, unconventional family we'd somehow created. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't what I'd imagined 3 years ago, but it was real, and it was working. And maybe that was enough. If this story has touched you, if you've seen yourself in the struggle to forgive, in the challenge of co-parenting, in the journey from betrayal to healing, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me your story. Tell me if you think Natalie made the right choice. Tell me if Michael deserved his second chance. And please, subscribe to Lux Love Chronicles with Mr. Wentworth. Because stories like this, stories about real people, facing real consequences and finding real redemption. These are the stories that matter. Share this with someone who needs to hear that broken things can be repaired, that people can change, that forgiveness is possible even when it seems impossible. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just a story about a cruel costume and a crashed birthday party and karma finally catching up to people who deserved it. This is a story about a mother protecting her children, about a father learning to be worthy of them, about two people who destroyed each other finding a way to build something new from the ashes. Tyler and Emma are 5 now. They split their time between my house and Michael's apartment. They call us both Mama and Daddy. They don't remember a time when their father wasn't part of their lives. And me? I'm still learning to forgive, still learning to trust, still learning to let go of the anger that sustained me for so long. But I'm getting there. We're getting there. And that's all any of us can do. Get there. One day at a time, one choice at a time, one moment of grace at a time. Ashley Monroe disappeared from public life after her influencer career imploded. Last I heard, she was living in her parents' basement in Ohio, working at a department store. Karma, it turns out, has a very long memory. Patricia Carter was convicted of medical fraud and sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. She lost everything, her reputation, her freedom, her relationship with her son, all because she couldn't accept that love mattered more than money and status. Derek is still one of my closest friends. He's Uncle Derek to the twins, and he's been dating his girlfriend for 2 years now. We're all planning to go to Disneyland together next month. The whole complicated family we've built. And Michael? Michael is exactly where he needs to be. He's Tyler and Emma's father, my co-parent, someone I trust with my children even if I'm still learning to trust him with my heart. We'll never be what we were. That marriage died 3 years ago, and there's no resurrecting it. But we're building something new, something better, maybe. Something based on honesty and accountability, and putting our children first. Is it enough? I don't know yet. Ask me again in another year. But for now, it's enough to watch Tyler and Emma thrive, to see them loved by both their parents, to know that despite everything that went wrong, we somehow found our way to something right. And that's the real moral of this story. Not that karma always catches up to cruel people, though it often does. Not that billionaire CEOs always get their comeuppance, though sometimes they do. The real moral is this: people can change, families can heal, forgiveness is possible even when it seems impossible. And sometimes the worst moments of our lives lead us to exactly where we need to be. Ashley's cruelty brought Michael to my door. Her costume revealed the twins' existence. Her live stream exposed Patricia's fraud. Her attempt to destroy me ended up destroying her instead. And all of that pain, all of that chaos, all of that public humiliation led to Tyler and Emma knowing their father, led to Michael becoming someone worthy of being their father, led to me finding a strength I didn't know I had. So was it worth it? The crashed birthday party, the media circus, the months of legal battles and supervised visits, and slowly rebuilding trust. I look at my children, happy and healthy and loved by both their parents, and I know the answer. Yes, it was worth it. Every painful, complicated, impossible moment of it was worth it. Because they're worth it. Tyler and Emma are worth every struggle, every sacrifice, every moment of fear and doubt and rage. They're worth everything. And that's a lesson worth remembering. That our children are worth fighting for, worth protecting, worth every difficult choice we make in their name. So to every mother out there protecting her children from harm, to every father trying to earn back trust he lost, to everyone rebuilding their lives from the ashes of what was destroyed, keep going, keep showing up, keep trying. Because the broken things, they can be repaired, not into what they were, but into something new, something different, something that works. And sometimes, that's exactly what we need. Thank you for staying with me through this journey, through Natalie's pain and Michael's redemption and Ashley's downfall, through the messy, complicated reality of modern families and second chances and consequences finally catching up. If you learned something, if you felt something, if this story meant something to you, let me know. Subscribe, share, comment. Be part of this community of people who believe in real stories with real consequences and real redemption. Because these are the stories that matter, not the perfect ones, the messy ones, the ones that show us we're not alone in our struggles, the ones that remind us that healing is possible. Until next time, This is Lux Love Chronicles with Mr. Wentworth, reminding you that karma is real, forgiveness is possible, and your children are worth every sacrifice. Now go hug your kids, call someone you love, and remember that even the worst moments can lead to unexpected grace.